Hi, Britical Saiyans here, I'm Jonah.
And I'm Matt.
And we've got a ban list update.
Yeah, we don't normally do these. I can't remember the last one we did.
It's been, like, they usually sprung on us whilst we're busy, so we have no time.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, well, there's the ban list, but we're in the middle of getting ready for a tournament, so...
Yeah, I mean, don't normally. It's like, if they're smaller ban lists as well, it's like, yeah. But this one seems to be quite a big one. Even though it only says 2 ban cards, 1 limited and 5 erratas. It doesn't seem too big, but it honestly is.
Especially for what's in the errata, I feel. Yes,
the errata is the biggest thing that people need to be aware of. Especially with the upcoming Nationals. So, just like...
And supposed set next month.
And supposed it's set next month, yes. Whether there's actually any tournaments around that time frame in Wheel Drop, I do not know. But anyway, so the first ban card, they've decided to actually get rid of Heartfelt Plea. Instead of just leaving it at 1.
I mean, it's not much of a hit, really.
Well, it's, as they say here, so the presence of yada 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 has been monitored since it was first limited, due to the higher power level of Zenkai series cards, making this card easier to play than ever before.
Oh, because a lot of their leads awaken at 6.
Well, most of the battle card, well, I'll say so most of them, fair few of them meet the power requirement to play this.
True.
And because this is when you activate Awaken.
Yeah.
Leader card activates Awaken. If I'm correct, that also means Z Awaken.
Yeah, it would actually.
Because it says, unless you want, it may not. Don't destroy me in the comments, please. Because it does say, it says Awaken, activates Awaken, but I don't know whether that means Z Awaken as well, because Z Awaken is different and actually says Z Awaken on the card. So, because that says awake, I don't know. I
think it would count because all the Z cards have the same timing and ruling as any normal card. So, like, you can do the Z Awaken in Awaken timing, and you can do, like, the Z battle cards as battle cards.
Yeah, but because they're 2 different words, that might be the whole thing. I don't know. I could be horribly wrong here.
I don't think it... I think it does count as one word, because like you could argue the same for, oh well, if it's types all my battle cards, this is a Z battle card, it's different technically, but it's like, no, it's still that generic text, it's part of the Z deck instead.
Okay, well, there you go. So yeah, they've decided to ban it, and I like how they got the SPR one as the as the artwork for it. So
if you're going to ban, do it with style.
So yeah, the next one they decided to ban,
which is King Piccolo, New Ruler. So it's been monitored, and it's just been banned to increase diversity because every red deck runs it.
If you have it.
Yeah.
If you forked out for it or got a draft box and pulled it.
Yeah. Well, it's like, if you're building red, most of the time you see people run that as like a 3 or 4 of.
Well, it was limited.
Oh, I honestly didn't remember. It was limited.
It was limited up to start off with.
Oh.
Because yeah, it was a 3/4 of when it first came out, and then it got limited, and then now it's just banned.
Yeah, I forget it's a thing until they bring it up. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a card.
So for the limited, they decided to hit Yamcha Merciless. The barrage. Yeah, I get it. Because like as they explain here, inhibits the power level of decks aiming to play many battle cards, including several strategies present in Zenkai series. In order to allow those decks to be playable, we are limiting this card. So they're banning the card because they want to push decks. They want to push. They want you playing the new decks, obviously, because that's how you progress a card game. So they need to hit cards to make it so you're more likely to play these new decks. So I feel from a business perspective, yes, that is a good hit. But as a player, I feel like it's not the best. They could have put it at 2. A 2 would have been fine.
Yeah.
But put it down to 1 at the same. It's just
see, like, of the 4 counterplays that came out this time, hitting Yamcha, yes, we get it, we understand. But if you literally asked, like, I feel like if they'd asked us, I would have said Frieza. That feels more of a threat because, like, it gets around the counter window of deflect because it's an auto skill. So you can play it out. The deflect part doesn't matter. It's like, okay, well, auto, I can still pop your thing. I can still hit your Z battle card. That thing bugs off. It's gone.
Yeah.
Wasted off. Like, I feel like Freezer is the one they should have limited to one. Of all of them, they should be like, Freezer's the main issue. We're going to limit this.
Yeah.
Because
this is in the counterplay window for the Myosin.
Yeah. All of them, bar Freezer, are in the counterplay window.
Yeah.
Because Trunks counterplay, Vegeta's counterplay, Yamcha's counterplay. Freezer is counterplay auto, which is why it's so good. But that is like the one they should have hit because it is like it's always a 4 of. It's always a 4. It's a pain, and it gets around windows. So, like, I see why Yamcha, but I would have argued Freezer.
Or both.
Oh yeah, both.
They could have just done both. If they were going to do it, they could have just done both.
As much as limiting Freezer would hurt me, I would understand.
Yeah. But hitting Yamcha, I mean, that's actually good for me because I only have the one of these, so that works for me.
I have three of them, 2 of which are the SPR. So I'm just like, well, I guess this makes it easier to spread them out.
Right, so on to the erratas now. Now this one
is the biggest one.
It is the biggest one. Like, holy hell, like, this is mental. This has been out since set 1. This has been a staple in Blue Decks since set 1. We are now on set 19, technically.
Yeah, we're going up to set 19.
Going up to set 19. And it's taken them that many sets to be like, hang on a minute, this card's getting out of hand. We need to do something about it.
This is the one on the entire list I was like, we need to address the video about is Sensu Bean. The moment I saw that happen, I was like, this definitely needs addressing by us. Every other one, we've been busy, we've been able to put up. This one, it's just like, no, we need to. So yeah, they've done it because they're like, oh, it's making decks too powerful. It's giving blue offensive and defense. So instead, they've changed it so it's if it's your opponent's turn, you do the effect. So it's purely a defense card, which is still fine. It gets you an energy back and 5k for defense. That is fine. But it does limit what you can do in a blue deck in your turn. Because Sensu Bean was the extender. Sensu Bean is what helped you push bigger plays and go, I can risk doing this.
More happy about the errata than them just going, we're limiting it or banning it.
Yeah, I'd rather they didn't limit it.
That's the errata's the right move for Sensu Bean.
If they banned it, they would have shot themselves in the foot because there'd be a huge amount of their player base that either raged at them or just dropped, and that would hurt them. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't go that far, but obviously players would just adjust. It's fine, but
most would. Some.
Yeah, the ban would have been a bit too excessive.
Yeah.
Limiting it would have been fine. But then players would be. It'll be the same argument was unyielding Trunks. It's like if you see that unyielding Trunks, it makes a hell of a difference.
Yeah.
And it'll be the same principle with Sensu Bean. It's like if you see that one Sensu Bean, it's just ridiculous. So no, yeah, errata is the correct way to go about it, and making it a purely defensive card, like Jonah said, is probably the only way they could do it.
Yeah. And it's not a bad thing.
Unless they literally, I mean, they could have put a limit 1 on it.
Yeah, you could.
So you couldn't just go, in my turn, I'm going to go, Sensu Bean, do some stuff. Sensu Bean, do some more stuff. Sensu Bean, do some more stuff.
Well, yeah, you can't just be there spending more time on your turn being like, oh, I'm going to make all these giant plays because I'm just going to Sensu Bean in between these plays.
Yeah.
So yeah, limit 1 would have also had the same effect.
Yeah. It would have just made it.
Because then, if you have multiple in your hands, you could do one on your turn, on your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's just like your opponent's turn, and even then, you only want to really do one per opponent's turn.
Yeah, so unless you really need the power on defense.
Yeah.
But no, out of the erratas, this is probably the biggest one.
I would say it is, by far.
Yeah. Let's just giving it.
So yeah, Violent Rays. They've changed because it allows red players to stop high power attacks without interfering with strategies. So instead of it being 20k or more, it's now 30k or more on battle or unison cards. So it's just pushing that bracket higher, which makes sense because like 20k or more, like 9 times out of 10 you go pick the battle cards, and saying 20k or more gives this huge range of things you can stop for one energy.
It hits too many things.
Yeah.
Where I think its original design was supposed to hit big cards. That was the original idea behind it, was to be like, look, we realise these big things are coming out too fast now. We need to oppress them slightly.
Yeah.
But having it as a 20k or more is too much of a hindrance.
Yeah.
Making it 30k or more means that the card is doing what it was probably initially intended to do, and that is just stop the big things.
Yeah. It's, the thing I find though is like 30k or more is going to be a harder like gap to like kind of, it's going to be more situational.
Well, it's just there to hit the bosses deck. Like the bosses of the decks basically are going to be what hits now.
Yeah, if they are that sort of power.
Yeah, if they are that sort of power. Some of them
Yeah.
aren't 30k. Some of them can be 25 or even in some rare cases 20k for bosses for decks. But off the top of my head, don't quote me on any of the cards that actually are 20k that are bosses.
And 30k unison is really situational.
Is there even any 30k unisons? Like,
probably.
I know there's obviously 20k because like 30k.
I like
without buffing it with other abilities. There'd be nothing. Oh wait, no. There's unison's effects that get them to 30k.
Yeah.
There's some that gain 15k, isn't there? Like they gain 15k in dual attack or something, or triple attack or whatever.
Yeah, they'll gain power that way. But like even then, it's a question of, is it an active main or an active battle for that effect? Because like you've got ones like the green Bardock is 15k, and I think it can put itself up to 30k and gain triple strike.
Yeah, but is that activate battle?
No, that's active main.
Well, that's fine then.
But if you're playing King Gold and you've got the King Vegeta one, that one it has an active battle minus its markers to gain 5k per field you have. So you could get around Violent Rays by swinging with it. If your opponent doesn't negate the attack, you're just like, okay, well, active battle, I've now gotten around you. It's situational, but it's still plausible.
No, because I see the attack's already gone through, so the power isn't there. Yeah, I see your argument. Yeah, that's...
if something can breach the gap after the counter step, that's where the issue's going to kind of come in. I feel like they could have maybe 25k on battle cards and kept it to 20k on using cards, just because...
Yeah, but I just made the card too overly complicated to try and remember the differences. It's like, it's just easier just to go 30k.
Yeah.
It
just makes it super situational.
Alright, so and then the next errata is Beerus.
Yes.
So Beerus the Visitor, as printed, allowed the player to draw many cards per turn with high consistency. This interaction was not intended, so we are issuing an errata to eliminate it. So they're just adding the and you place this card from your hand in your energy and rest mode, draw one card, as opposed to draw one card, then place this card from your hand into your energy and rest mode.
Yeah.
So they're just putting the draw one card as the end of the text instead of the first part of the text.
Yeah, because I think the idea was like people were using it to draw, put it in, and then they could potentially just draw another one and put it in. So like it slows down the possibility of that.
Okay.
I mean, you could have just said you can only use the activate on this card once per turn, or just limit one. If the interaction was people getting too much off it.
Yeah. Not really much can be said about that, to be honest. It's like more of this, and this is like the biggest.
Yeah.
Right. The Vegeta, they've literally just updated it so it can only be done with the Vegito leader.
Yeah.
Which I get, but I don't like at the same time. the reason I get it is because, yes, the card was just thrown in every single red deck, but it was thrown in every single red deck for good reason, or the fact that it's there to stop floodgates, which are just, I know they're not so much there now, but at the same time, you need to be able to stop them, because otherwise it's just like, because if a yellow deck just keeps going every single turn, like 4 turns in a row, freezer, 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 it's just like, great, thanks. Now what? Like, this is like red's like literal only chance.
Yeah, but I feel like they don't, because they bring out counterplays and people aren't using, because it's like, well, this is a counterplay that can beat stuff up. And it's like, yes, but we want you to use our new cards. Because that is another reason they'll do things. And like, they did obviously design it for the Vegito deck, but because it's permanent, allows it to be in other decks, which is where it's coming in.
Yeah.
So.
If you have 3 more energy, reduce it by 2.
Yeah.
So 1 cost counterplay to stop. And 1 floodgates that usually cost 2 or more.
Even then, you have to wait till you're on free energy to do that.
Yeah, but that's fine. So, yes, but at the same time, ouch. Yeah.
If Red had better counterplays, people would probably use them more. Just saying.
So yeah, the last card.
Yeah, so it's the Crown of Retribution Broly, which they've erased it so that you can't play it out with a skill.
So basically, it's the whole like the new SS4 Gogeta Unison are just +2 base, play out Broly for free.
Yeah.
Broly's auto triggers. Like it's just that's the prime example I can give to why they've done this.
There's other skills that have allowed it to be played out, and then because it's probably skills where they've been able to play it in their opponent's turn, and then it's auto triggered because it's got the energy in active mode. So
I don't know. The only thing that really stands out to me is the whole Gogeta thing. But it's I get it. Like the tournament was needed for this card because of the Gogeta. It was just too good. It just meant that like all the red decks using the Gogeta and using this was just like, well, I can spend my energy doing this, but before I'm gonna try and but before you spend your energy making any plays, you're just like, well, I'm gonna +2 my Unison, play this out, rip a card out your hand. Now I'll make my plays.
Yeah.
It was too much free advantage. So making it so it can't be played off that. It just balances it basically. It means you just have to spend the energy to get the skill off. It doesn't make the card unplayable. It doesn't make it so it's worth not playing. It is still worth playing. So don't throw it to one side. It is still definitely definite in red decks.
It's just killed off 1 or 2 strategies that tie with it.
Well, I just killed off like a combo that you do with it. Basically, that's it. It's just like. But it's, you don't need to dump this card. It's still so worth using. So yeah, there you go, guys. That's the new ban list, which was on October 28th. So does it? Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's an effect from today, isn't it?
Yes.
Cool. All right, guys. So thank you very much for watching. Leave any thoughts you have in comments below. How you feel about each of the ban cards, the limit to 1, the erratas, everything. For those long-term players, you probably feel the same way you do about the Centipede. Whether you guys have any of the same train of thought as we've had on these cards, that's awesome if you have. But if you know of any other reasons, just let us know. Right? If you feel like they've might have made a mistake here, like just tell us.
Like the more opinions we get, the better, because like we can only come up with so much ourselves.
Yeah. And
like the Beerus one, we read and it was just like, okay, I guess there's something there, but like outside of it, we don't know the combination. Like we didn't even give it 2 minutes of thought beforehand. So it's like that for us is something like would be nice to have a bit more clarity on as well. It's like, oh, that's why people did it. Okay, yeah, that needed doing. So
But guys, so we'll see you next time then. So
Yeah.
bye bye.
Bye.